Hello there, this is P.O.W.E.R, the designer of P.O.W.E.R, Packs of War Each Rank. This video is going to show you a Rear Admiral Rank game, which is an officer rank game of 20 cards apiece that you play with the ARC lane. But first, what you're looking at here is the U.S. core packs that is already available at your FLGSs. In it, we have 6 pre-constructed packs themed by each unit type. There you see the light orange, which is artillery, and here you have the tank pack. Each pack is 8 cards each. You play 8 versus 8. There's the supply pack with the gas turbine special card. Here's the infantry pack. Obviously the dark orange is going to be your close air support, and over here we have the defense pack with your SAM ADATs and your anti-tanks and SAMs. Much more of like a turtling type of pack. Now those are 8 versus 8, which are these game ranks. And I know there's been some confusion about the game ranks, and perhaps maybe it's a new unique element that I brought into this gaming system, and please do think of it as a gaming system. I also uploaded this, which is a concise way of putting all of the game ranks together, and I put that on the Kickstarter project update. As you can see, the first 5 enlisted ranks are part of the U.S. core packs, and then you start going into the officers ranks when you have captain and admiral, rear admiral, etc. for the ARC expansion. That is kickstarting, and the final date is January 7th. So I do want to mention that there are multiplayer rules. We have a 3-player and a 4-player, 2 against 2 multiplayers, and that's actually the Marine Corps insignia there. And then we go into lieutenant and captain, rear admiral, and admiral. And as you can see in these 3 cards, you'll see a yellow box up here, and that's what we call the BQ box, and that denotes that it's actually going to be played within the game, which is different than the rest of these game ranks here. So again, US core packs are already available along with the battle mats that you see here. We're going to try to get a stretch goal of having that tube there as well with new Kickstarter specific artwork. Just to make sure, to be certain, these 5 game ranks included in the US core packs 8 cards versus 8 cards. Some you deck build, some you use the pre-constructed packs. Now let's move into the ARC expansion that we start using our C units. You can see the destroyer there, supply, aircraft carrier, and now you have to use your bases. When it comes to the air units, I'm looking at F4, F-18, there's a F-15 here, as well as the F-16. Now the difference between the ARC and the core packs is this ARC lane that you're seeing right here, and that ARC HQ. So you're going to actually be building your bases in this HQ and then launching your planes and your ships and attacking by row onto the battlefield. So let's go to deck building a 20 card Rear Admiral deck. Be back in a sec. Okay, P.O.W.E.R here again. I'm going to show you a deck build of this Rear Admiral 20 card pack game. So with the officers ranks, you can use a US core pack and any of the cards in there, and one of each expansion. So right now the ARC expansion is the only expansion, but in future expansions obviously you can include those too. So you're going to have 48 gameplay cards and another 64 that are going to be in the ARC expansion. And let's just say my theme for this particular deck build is going to be air. I want to bring out the Air Force. So there are 2 of each. So right now I have my air-to-ground, my F-16s with a AGM, air-to-ground missile, and then I have my 2 F-15Cs that are going to be for my air-to-air. So I'm going to put these up here since I'm going to build 20 cards here. So there's 4, and then to do that I'm going to need an air base. That's a BQ2. Hopefully you know about your build queues from the other videos, but just so you know, of course you need your air base to launch these planes. If you're doing a C deck, you could use the aircraft carrier, but again, this theme is going to be Air Force only. But to build this air base, I'm going to need construction battalions. Now, in Rear Admiral, it's going to be 20 cards per side, so we're going to have 5 in each of these build queues, because there's 4. If you have 5, then you're going to at least have 2. It's going to be very risky, only have 1. And in the worst case, you could have an air base on top of these, and then you'd never be able to build your air base. You're really going to have to change your strategy at that point. But I'm going to risk it with 2 out of the 5. If you don't understand that, it's going to become clear when we play the sample game. So I need my 2 construction battalions that are infantry. I can win the game with these 2 units. And that's going to build the airbase. That's going to allow these to take off. However, to leave the HQ, I need a captain card. A captain is actually a game rank card, and it's 16 versus 16. But for planes to take off, I'm actually going to use this game rank card within the game. That's why I have this build queue box up here. So this is the very minimum I would need out of the 20 card pack to send my planes out. But if I'm busy building that, I'm going to need some sort of battlefield defense. So let's throw in some BQ HQs that come up very quick. We call them freebies that don't take anything to build in the build queue. They come straight out. So I'll use a lay mines that comes out quick. I can turn that and have it stop the oncoming tanks, etc. I have a BQ1 snipers that has a 1 radius attack, and that'll come out after 1 turn of building. And I will also have an entrenchers that's a BQ HQ. Let's put this one up here. Put this one down here. Entrenchers are simply they dig a little bit of a hole and get a +1 on defense. So those are my 2 quick ones that come out to stop any quick onslaught from the opponent. I have my sniper for good range when it comes to a quick unit to come out. And then let's get on some big guns. This is a BQ4 Apache. Here's a BQ4 Thunderbolt. When I have those 4 turns, I know I'm going to be really, really strong after those 4 turns of building. Now I can reprioritize as I go in this game. I can say, wait a minute, I need these quicker units out first, so let's delay the other ones. And you can do that when you flip or don't flip. Again, this will become a little bit more apparent when we have 2 players playing. A BQ3, we have our tank. Always good to have a tank in there, but let's have some air defense. That's another BQ3. So I have my 2 BQ4s and my 2 BQ3s. And then I need some supply, which is 1 and 2. I have a close air support supply. And then I have my artillery, just in case he's coming down with infantry. And then I'm going to throw in a special. It's a BQ4 jammer. And that's going to stop any of his anti-air missiles coming in. And it's a very cool card in the way that it's autonomous. And let's see, I need one more card. I can bring it from the Air-Sea expansion, or I can bring it from the U.S. core packs. And I think right now I need another BQ HQ. So I'm going to put in another lay mines, or maybe another entrenchers. So that's going to go right there, and that's going to be my deck for the 20 card game. And we're going to be right back, and I'm going to build another 20 card deck. But this is going to be for the Navy. See you in a bit. Hey there, PK Toretto again. Now I'm going to build another deck of 20 cards so that we have a Rear Admiral game. But this time it's going to be a naval-based pack. And I got to say, at 20, it's definitely possible to get your Navy out. It's going to test your management of the build queue, but once they do come out, it's going to be a rout. It's going to be really, really fun, but again, it's very difficult to get them out, but once they do, they can't be hit from the battlefield. I can't understate that. So we want to bring out, let's say, remember it's 20 cards here, so we got our battleship here that cannot move and attack in the same turn, but has great range. We have the destroyer. It discovers subs as well as it has fire at will. Because I don't know what the other person is playing, even though I made the deck, right? I'm going to put in a sub just in case. Could use the aircraft carrier and carrier-based jet fighters, but let's delay that for a second because I'm going to show you how difficult that is with only 20 cards. Let's put in another destroyer, and of course, to launch these, we need our base, right? So we have our naval base. To construct the naval base, we need our construction battalion. I have 2 here, and remember I'm building this out of 1 Air-Sea expansion and 1 U.S. core packs. In the Air-Sea expansion there's 4 construction battalions. So maybe to make my building of the base quicker, because that's a BQ3 as opposed to the air base, that's a BQ2, I'm going to put in 3 of these. Hopefully I'll be able to get all of these out, and I could turn them all in the HQ, and I could pop out my naval base. That would be a good strategy to have. So I'm going to use another card slot for a CB here. Now, to launch any of these, I need a Rear Admiral. An Admiral. The Rear Admiral supplies the naval base. Air base doesn't have to do that. The air base has self-resupply. But when this comes in spent, to supply it, I need this active. Active being that there's no cards on top of it in the build queue. So if I have that Rear Admiral up, then I can supply it. To leave the naval base, I need the Admiral. It shouldn't sound that complicated. If it does, it makes sense when you're playing the game, I assure you. So, Admiral to launch these, Rear Admiral to supply the naval base, construction battalions to build the naval base. Now, as you can see, that's only 4 units here. Well, granted, you have 3 infantry with no attack strength, but that's 10 out of my 20 cards to get these out. You're starting to see how it's a little bit difficult. It may take some time, but if you ever did get your destroyers and battleships out, it's going to trump the game. It's good strategy regardless. Now let me just say, if I did have that aircraft carrier and brought in my carrier base F-18 Hornet and my F-4 that goes to the ground with the dumb bombs, I could use this and actually have these planes leave from the aircraft carrier. However, I would have to include another card, the captain card, so that they would be able to leave that air HQ. In this case, it's a mobile air HQ. So at this point, I only have 6 cards left to defend myself against perhaps 6 tanks, even 7 tanks. That would be very difficult. So I am not going to use this in the 20 card Rear Admiral game. Hopefully this is making sense to you. So I'm going to need some defense for the battlefield, basically the Army and the Marine Corps that is coming down. Let's put out a SAM. That's going to be good for one of his Apaches or Warthogs. Anti-tank, good for his Abrams or Sheridans coming down. Entrenchers, very good against, like, say, infantry mortar. Pretty much that. Now both of these are BQHQ, so they come out quick and it'll stop any transport onslaught or any quick type of strategy that comes straight out of the build queue and comes down. In fact, let's put in another mortars, so then I have an attack of 2. That may come in useful. Going to put in a supply that can carry a troop and also be in the air. I am going to put in one of my Abrams because I need a tank. And I'm flipping through these cards real quick. Oh, you know what? That's a very good one to have for infantry. See a sub. Sam ADATs. I don't have a yellow card, as you can see. But we can use the Chaparral here. And let's put in our own Apache. It's going to be a difficult one. I know this game through and throughout. This is going to be very quick to come out, and I may be able to stop the infantry here. This will stop the tank.